today's tutorial is about the basics of using Audacity to manipulate sound files and record them. So today we're going to cover these topics: recording audio, importing an already existing audio file, changing stereo to mono, copying and pasting, making pauses, and then exporting everything in your track as an MP3 at the end. So at the end of this, you should be able to create your own sound recording with Audacity. All right, so this is Audacity. It's a free program. I'm using the latest version of the Mac version, but we also have this on our work computers. It's a slightly older version, so some of the names are a little bit different, but it's almost just the same. So the first thing I want to show you is how to record. So the first step in that is choosing a microphone. Now, so here I'm going to be using a USB microphone that I have. You could also use, headphone microphone, something like that. It's important that you plug that microphone in before you open Audacity so that it knows that it's there. So plug the headphone in, then open Audacity. Now I need to determine if my volume is right, if I'm too loud or too soft. And an easy way to do that is up here at the top, there is click to start monitoring. And so now I can see that there's this green line telling me how many decibels I'm putting out. Right now everything is green. I got a little yellow there, but I can change it here by changing this little slider. So if I turned it all the way to the top, I can see I've got red and yellow. That's bad. I don't want that. It'll cause distortion. So I want to turn it down a little bit like that maybe. Okay, you can also change how far away you are from the microphone, but in general, it's best to be as close to the microphone as possible for best sound quality. So if it's too high, just turn it down a little bit. All right, so let's make a recording. I just click up here, the record button. Now I'm making a test recording using Audacity. Click stop when I'm done. Now I can play. Now the sound quality is going to be terrible because you're just picking up the speakers from my computer, not the real quality, but this is what it sounds like. Now I'm making a test recording using Audacity. Okay, so that's really easy. That's all there is to it. Now, if I were happy with it and everything was good, my next step would be to export it as an MP3, but I will show you how to do that in just a few minutes. So moving on to the next topic we want to talk about is how to import an already existing audio file into Audacity. So let me close this. By clicking this X, it goes away. And now the easiest way to import really is just to drag and drop. So this is my desktop. I have some sound files here. So I want to put, let's see, Snow White. Let's do that. So then I'll make this big again. So now I've got a sound file in, and it imported it automatically. So let's play. Once upon a time, a princess named Snow White lived in a castle with her father. Okay, you get the idea. Now, you notice that this one looks a little bit different from our last one. There's 2 tracks instead of just 1. That's because this is a stereo track. Whoever recorded it, that was me, put it in stereo that time. So it's a lot easier not to deal with stereo tracks. To put everything in mono is the best way you should do this. Putting it in mono is easy. All I need to do is click this little down arrow at the top, and if I go down, I can see split stereo to mono. Okay, now I have 2 tracks, and all I have to do is delete one of them. So now this is just a mono track. So what I want to do is I want to get this into my listening exam with all the directions and all that kind of thing. So to do that, I'm going to need to copy and paste it. So let me get my directions in here. These are test instructions. All right. The way I have this all set up with pauses and everything. So this is Zane's voice. If we click in here.
Snow White lived in a castle with her father, the king.
Ooh, what's going on? Because I have 2 tracks in here, you can see that it's playing both at the same time. So if I want to work with one particular one at a time, I'll click solo. So solo here or solo there. Solo here. Now I've got
University, the Center for Preparatory Studies.
Okay, so now I've got this one. Now what I want to do is I want to get this Snow White track into here in the right places. So I've got the introduction, then they have 2 minutes to read the questions. This little thing is now listen, and this one says you have 1 more minute to complete or check your answers or something like that. So I want this one down in that little gap, and then I want it again in this little gap because they listen twice. Yeah? So let's go up here, and I need to make this a little bigger. Make everything bigger here. To make it bigger, I can click these little magnifying glasses. All right, I should be able to select it. Now, there's different ways to select. I can just drag and click and drag. That'll select parts of it. But I want the whole thing. So I'm going to click, I could go Control A for this, or just click over here in this part, and that automatically selects the whole thing. So to copy, I can use these little buttons up here, or much easier, just do Control C. Now I'm done with that, so I'm going to click solo down here, and this is the place where I want it to go, right there. So I'll click there and then Control V. Now I've got it like this.
Now listen.
And
once upon a time, a princess named Snow White lived in a castle.
Great. Now you'll notice that when I'm doing this playing and back and forth, I'm always clicking stop at the end, not pause. This is important. If you click pause, you can't really do anything with it. Like you can't use any of the tools, you can't copy paste or anything like that. So if you're doing something and the program is just not responding, check to make sure that you've clicked stop, not pause. All right, so let me take a look at this. This looks like kind of a long pause here, right? This is where the Snow White part finishes, and these are the directions. That's too long. So let me select a bit of that by clicking and dragging, and then I can just click the delete button. And now let's see.
First of them all. You have 1 minute to complete and check your answers.
Okay, that sounds fine. So I'll stop that. Now, I also want to put this one over here in the second listening, right? So I'll click here, and it still remembers that I've copied it, so Control V. And again, I've got a little bit too much space here. So let me select that and delete it. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what if I don't have a file with pauses already in it? That's also really easy to do. So what I want to do is I'm going to zoom out, and let's say that I didn't have this part. This is a 2-minute pause here. So we'll delete that. To put a pause in, all I need to do is go up to the top here and click Generate and Silence. If I generate silence, I can choose how much silence I want to have. So I could have 1 minute, that's the M is minute, the S is seconds, but I want 2, so I put the 2 there and click OK. So now it's generated 2 minutes of complete silence for me there. Let's see. So I think I'm pretty much done with this file. I want to now export it and get it out of Audacity and put it in a file type that you can actually use. Audacity files can't be played by any other program except for Audacity. So I want to export it. But first, I need to get rid of these other tracks that are, if I have any other tracks here that I've been working with that I don't want in my final, I want to delete that. So I'll click this little X of this one. And now I'm set. So I want to save this as an MP3, which is easy. I go up here and click File and Export. Export as MP3. There's different file types there, but MP3 is the most efficient. And I want to give it a name. So I'll say, let's say, Exam 3. And click. I don't need to change any of these presets. These are all fine. Do I want joint stereo? No, I want mono. Yeah, it should default to mono. And click Save. And you could add a year or track name if you want to, but let's just leave it how it is. Go OK. Depending on how big your file is, it can take a couple minutes to export. So now, if I go back over here, I've got Exam 3, and I can see that it's an MP3. So I can open this with VLC or Media Player or whatever to check it to see that everything is okay. So I think that is the end of our first tutorial. If you'd like to find out more about how to improve the quality of the audio files and make other changes to the audio to make it sound nicer, listen to the next video.